Every year, millions of people walk through the ancient arches of the Colosseum in the heart of Rome. They admire its towering walls, take photographs of its weathered stones, and marvel at one of the greatest architectural achievements ever built. To most visitors, it is a breathtaking monument and an unmistakable symbol of the Roman Empire. But as they stand among these silent ruins, few realize that nearly 2,000 years ago, this was the loudest and most dangerous place in the ancient world. Today, only a fraction of the original structure remains. Time, earthquakes, wars, and centuries of change have stripped away much of its former glory. Yet even in its ruined state, the Colosseum continues to inspire awe, standing as a reminder of an empire that once ruled much of the known world. Now, imagine if these ancient stones could speak. Imagine the roar of 80,000 spectators echoing through the arena. Imagine the thunder of wild animals charging onto the sand, the clash of steel between gladiators fighting for survival, and an emperor watching from his throne as thousands of lives hung in the balance. Every archway, every underground tunnel, and every block of stone witnessed stories of triumph, sacrifice, and unimaginable brutality. So how was this extraordinary monument built? Who were the people who fought and died within its walls? What engineering secrets allowed the Romans to create a stadium centuries ahead of its time? And why does the Colosseum still captivate the world after nearly 2,000 years? In this documentary, we will travel back through time to uncover the remarkable story of the Colosseum, from its ambitious construction and ingenious design to the spectacular games that entertained an empire, and the enduring legacy that continues to fascinate millions of visitors today. To understand why the Colosseum was built, we must first travel back to a turbulent chapter in Roman history. Before this magnificent amphitheater dominated the skyline of Rome, the land beneath it looked completely different. Instead of a public gathering place, it was occupied by a vast artificial lake that formed the centerpiece of Emperor Nero's extravagant golden house, or Domus Aurea. Nero's reign ended in chaos. Following political unrest and civil war, he died in AD 68, leaving the empire divided and its people deeply dissatisfied. His luxurious palace had become a symbol of excess, built while much of Rome struggled to recover from hardship. The new emperor, Vespasian, understood that restoring public confidence required more than military victories. He needed a powerful gesture that would show Rome belonged to its people once again. Rather than preserving Nero's private paradise, Vespasian made a remarkable decision. The artificial lake was drained, and the land was transformed into the site of a massive public amphitheater. It was a symbolic act as much as an engineering project. A place once reserved for the pleasures of a single ruler would become a gathering place for tens of thousands of Roman citizens. According to the source material, construction began around AD 70 to 72 under Vespasian and was completed in AD 80 during the reign of his son, Emperor Titus. The project was financed largely through the wealth and spoils brought back after Rome's victory in the First Jewish-Roman War. While tens of thousands of captives were forced to work on the enormous undertaking, the Colosseum was therefore much more than a stadium. It was a political statement carved in stone. Every massive arch, every towering wall, and every carefully designed entrance proclaimed the strength of the Flavian dynasty and the stability of a reborn empire. It promised entertainment for the masses, but it also reminded every visitor who had made such spectacles possible. As the walls of the amphitheater rose higher each year, few could have imagined that this extraordinary structure would survive for nearly 2 millennia, becoming not only the greatest arena of the ancient world, but also one of the most recognizable monuments in human history. Constructing the Colosseum was one of the most ambitious engineering projects of the ancient world. Creating an amphitheater capable of holding tens of thousands of spectators required enormous resources, careful planning, and an extraordinary workforce. Every stage of the project reflected the organizational power of the Roman Empire. According to the source material, the site itself first had to be transformed before construction could even begin. Workers removed approximately 30 1,000 tons of earth and rock to create a stable foundation on the valley floor between Rome's hills. Once the ground had been prepared, thousands of laborers began raising what would become the largest amphitheater ever built by the Romans. Colosseum. The scale of the construction was astonishing. Around 100,000 cubic meters of stone were used to create the massive exterior walls, while more than 25,000 cubic meters of concrete, mortar, and gravel strengthened the structure from within. Iron clamps held countless stone blocks tightly together, forming a framework that was both durable and remarkably resilient. Even after centuries of earthquakes and human activity, much of this engineering still survives today. The workforce behind the Colosseum was just as impressive. The source explains that the project was financed with wealth taken after Rome's victory in the First Jewish-Roman War, and that an estimated 60 to 100,000 captives were forced to participate in its construction. Their labor, combined with the expertise of Roman architects, engineers, and craftsmen, allowed the enormous project to progress at an astonishing pace. Yet the Colosseum was designed to be far more than a monumental stone building. Every corridor, staircase, and entrance had a specific purpose. The Romans planned the structure so that thousands of spectators could enter, find their assigned seats, and leave the arena efficiently. This practical approach demonstrated that Romans' engineering was not focused solely on grandeur, but also on functionality. By the time construction was completed under Emperor Titus in AD 80, the Colosseum had become a visible declaration of Roman strength and technical achievement. It stood as proof that the empire could mobilize vast resources, coordinate massive construction projects, and create a public monument unlike anything the ancient world had ever seen. For generations of Romans, the arena was more than a place of entertainment. It was a symbol of empire's confidence, discipline, and unmatched engineering skill. From the outside, the Colosseum impressed visitors with its enormous size and elegant arches, but its true brilliance was revealed once people stepped inside. It had been carefully designed to manage massive crowds with remarkable speed and efficiency, demonstrating an understanding of architecture and public ahead of its time. According to the source material, the Colosseum featured 80 entrances, each assigned a specific purpose. 2 entrances were reserved exclusively for the emperor, 2 for the gladiators, while the remaining gates allowed thousands of spectators to enter and exit the arena. 2 for the gladiators, making it easy for visitors to locate in sports stadiums today. Each entrance was numbered, making it easy for visitors to locate their names today. Each areas the amphitheaters, strikingly similar in organizational systems. The emperor and Rome's determined where a person could today. Inside the amphitheater, accent in moderns and efficient sit. The emperor determined where a person could day. Social status Rome's highest rang officials occupied the finest marble seats closest to the arena floor, giving them the best possible view of every spectacle. Behind them sat the equestrian class, followed by wealthy citizens. Ordinary Romans were seated higher up, while women were generally most farthest from the action. Every seat reflected the strict social hierarchy of Roman society, ensuring that status remained visible even during public entertainment. The Romans also demonstrated extraordinary attention to safety and crowd management. The intricate network of corridors, staircases, and passageways enabled tens of engineers within a few minutes. According to the source, the design allowed the arena to be evacuated within only a few minutes if necessary, a non-modern achievement that remains impressive even by modern engineering standards. Another remarkable innovation was the velarium, a gigantic retractable canopy stretched above the seating area, weighing around 24 tons. This enormous linen awning protected spectators from the intense Mediterranean sun while still allowing fresh air to circulate throughout the stadium. Sailors from the Roman Navy were responsible for operating the complex system of ropes and wooden masts that raised and adjusted the canopy depending on the weather. Taken together, These innovations transformed the Colosseum into far more than a place for brutal spectacles. It became one of the world's earliest examples of sophisticated stadium design, combining engineering, logistics, and architecture into a single masterpiece. Nearly 2,000 years later, many of the principles first demonstrated inside the Colosseum continue to influence the design of large sports arenas around the world. To the thousands of spectators filling the Colosseum, the arena floor appeared to be nothing more than a wide expanse of golden sand where gladiators and wild animals fought for survival. Yet beneath their feet lay one of the most remarkable engineering achievements of the ancient world, a vast underground complex known as the Hypogeum. According to the source material, this hidden network extended for nearly 3 kilometers, consisting of corridors, through chambers, storage rooms like passage beneath the arena, Eepers. It was here networks and passage waited in silence before entering battle, while exotic animals from across the Roman Empire sprints nest soldier its narrow handlers, the hyphen cages, until the moment they were released into the arena. Far from being a simple basement, functioned like the backstage area of a modern theater. Workers, animal basement, and stage crews moved constant lays, narrow handlers. The Stursmen reads, Mead spectators, soldier hen handlers, preparing elaborate mexcores, lyrics spielbismix spectacles that amazed the crowds above. Every event required careful coordination. Gladiators received their final instructions. Animals were inspected before each performance began. One of the most ingenious features of the underground system was its network of mechanical lifts and trapdoors. Using wooden platforms, ropes, pulleys, and counterweights, scenery what these Romans sudden to the arena floor within seconds. Sindri or even fully armed gladiators directly onto the arena seemed almost magical, creating moments of surprise and students demonstrated that added excitement and suspense to every show. Although simple by modern standards, against engineering, the system demonstrated an extraordinary understanding of mechanics and engineering. The source also notes that the Colosseum incorporated an advanced water management systems beneath the arena. Channels and drainage passages helped control water and maintain the structure, highlighting the Romans' passages' structure remanability. 2. Combine entertainment with practical engineering solutions. For the gladiators, however, the Hypogeum was far more than an engineering masterpiece. It was the place where fear became real. In the dim light of oil lamps, they waited only a few meters below the roaring crowd, knowing that once the gates opened, every step could be their last. The cheers echoing from above served as a constant reminder that thousands of spectators were waiting for a spectacle and that someone would likely never leave the arena alive. Hidden from public view, the Hypogeum was the unseen heart of the Colosseum. Without its complex tunnels, ingenious machinery, and disciplined workforce, the breathtaking spectacles that defined Rome's greatest amphitheater would never have been possible. A day at the Colosseum. As the first rays of sunlight illuminated the towering walls of the Colosseum, crowds from every corner of Rome began streaming through its 80 entrances. Senators in fine robes, wealthy merchants, soldiers, craftsmen, and ordinary citizens all gathered inside the enormous amphitheater. According to the source material, and during major festivals, food was often distributed to spectators. Some celebrations even continued for as long distributed days, making the games one of the greatest public events in the Roman world. The day's entertainment usually began with exhibitions of exotic animals. Creatures brought usually began with exhibitions exotic animals. Treats brought from distant exhibitions including lions, leopards, bears, and other wild beastware displayed before dramatic hunts took place and spectators. This was the only opportunity they would ever have to see such animals. The excitement of the crowd grew with every confrontation as skilled hunters. As skilled hunters demonstrated their courage against dangerous predators. By midday, the atmosphere became far darker. The source describes how executed before the assembled audience. These grim spectacles were intended not only to entertain, but also to demonstrate the absolute authority of Roman law and imperial power. For those forced into the arena, there was often little hope of survival. The afternoon's end was reserved. The everyone had been waiting for the gladiatorial contests. As trumpets echoed through the amphitheater emerged from beneath the arena floor, lever nen toiteris applause. As trumpets echoed through the amphitheater to thunderous applause. Some fought with swords and shields, others carried nets and tridents, while each combat and one slide on a unique fighting style developed through years of training. Every duel tested strength, discipline, and endurance before tens of thousands of spectators. Discipline. According to the source material, the fate of a defeated gladiator could depend upon the emperor or, in later periods, the wishes of the crowd. A victorious fighter might earn glory, wealth, or even freedom, while defeat could mean death in full view of thousands of cheering spectators. These moments of suspense transformed every contest into a powerful emotional spectacle that kept audiences captivated from beginning to end. Facite turn. As the sun finally disappeared beyond the rooftops of Rome, the arena floor bore the marks of the day's events. 0.5s. The crowds slowly departed, discussing the greatest battles they had witnessed, while workers prepared the Colosseum for another day of unforgettable spectacles. For the Roman people, the games were far more than entertainment. They were a celebration of imperial power, social order, and the grandeur of the empire itself. The life of a gladiator. To the cheering crowds inside the Colosseum, gladiators were heroes, entertainers, and symbols of courage. Their names were celebrated, their victories remembered, and the greatest among them achieved a level of fame that rivaled modern sports champions. Behind the excitement of the arena was a life defined by relentless discipline, constant danger, and most gladiators were not of death. According to the source materials, most gladiators were not volunteers. Many were prisoners of war, convicted criminals, or enslaved people forced to fight for the entertainment of the public. Others came from poor backgrounds and willingly entered the arena in search of wealth, recognition, or the hope of a better life. A small number even came from the dangerous profession despite its risks. Field sight appearing in the Colosseum. Gladiators spent countless hours training to master sword fightingans. Gladiators, counsellors, mies, persters hours, free styles. They learned how to use different weapons, protect themselves with shields and armor, and remain calm under intense pressure. Physical strength alone was never enough. Success depended on discipline, endurance, and the ability to read an opponent's movements in the heat of combat. When the moment finally stepped into the arena before tens of thousands of spectators, every movement was watched closely. A single mistake could end the contester, end a life. Some matches losing a weapons or suffering serious injuries. The source explains that the defeated gladiator could plead for mercy. The source explains that defeated gladiator plead or executed, while the emperor or, in some periods, the crowd played an important role in deciding gifts. The fighter would be spared and from slavery. A successful gladiator extraordinary rewards. A successful gladiator my extraordinary rewards. Public admiration and, in some cases, freedoms from sly. Their achievements turned them into celebrities whose stories spread throughout Rome. For many who had been born into hardship, the arena represented their only opportunity to change their fate. Defeat, however, carried terrible consequences. The source describes several brutal methods of execution that reflected the harsh realities of Roman entertainment, reminding spectators that the games were built upon real human suffering. Filsi turn zerohon. For the Roman people, gladiators embodied bravery, determination, and endurance. For the gladiators themselves, every appearance inside the Colosseum was a gamble between glory and death. Their courage transformed ordinary men into legends, while their sacrifices became an unforgettable part of the Colosseum's enduring history. For the people of ancient Rome, the Colosseum was the ultimate stage of public entertainment. Every event was designed to amaze the audience with spectacle, danger, and raw emotion. What filled the arena was far more than sport. It was a carefully orchestrated display of imperial power, courage, and violence. According to the source material, Zeus featured a wide varieties. Gladiators fought one another in brutal duels. Gladiators forced into deadly confrontations. Prisoners fought one another in brutal duels. Prisoners slew ability creatures named Tarst another into the arena. Lions, leopards, bears, and other exotic creatures became part of performances intended to astonish the crowds and demonstrate Rome's ability to control these forces of nature. In the file zeros, the source also notes that female lens appeared in the arena, although they were far less common. Gladiators occasionally in the arena. Idu de Tsunos, another element of curiosity. Their participation added another element of curiosities. Soon, and excitement for Roman spectators, who gathered in enormous numbers whenever unusual spectacles were announced for sight. The human cost of these games was staggering. According to the source, more than 500,000 people and over 1 million animals are believed to have died during the centuries in which the Colosseum hosted its famous spectacles. During the inaugural celebrations alone, approximately 9,000 animals were reportedly killed. These numbers illustrate the extraordinary scale of the games and the immense resources devoted to maintaining Rome's culture of public entertainment. To modern audiences, such scenes seem almost unimaginable, yet for many Romans these represented excitement, celebration, and civic pride. The applause of tens of thousands of spectators, the thunderous fighters to display exceptional courage, encouraged fighters to display exceptional courage. While emperors used the games to strengthen their popularity and demonstrate contest came to an end, the arena floor bore silent witness to both triumph and tragedy. The arena floor bore scent and admiration, wealth, sometimes their freedom. Victorious gladiators earned admiration, while countless others disappeared into history after a single fatal encounter. The Colosseum therefore became more than a magnificent amphitheater. It embodied both the extraordinary achievements and the harsh contradictions. Sometimes Vespasian of Roman civilization, a place where remarkable engineering and artistic grandeur existed alongside relentless violence. Nearly 2,000 years later, the echoes of those spectacles have faded, but the stories of the men, women, and animals who entered the arena continue to shape the enduring legacy of the Colosseum. For centuries, the Colosseum stood at the heart of Rome as a monument to imperial power. But like the empire that built it, the great amphitheater eventually entered a long period of decline. As Rome changed, so too did the purpose of its most famous arena. According to the source material, after the spectacles came to an end, parts of the Colosseum were gradually given new uses. A small church was established within the arena. Sections of the structure became a cemetery, and the spaces beneath the seating were converted into workshops and even homes for local residents. The building that had once echoed with the cheers of tens of thousands slowly became part of everyday life in medieval Rome. Field zone. Nature also left its mark on the ancient monument. The source explains that a powerful earthquake in the 14th century caused the collapse of much of the southern outer wall. Over the following centuries, additional damage from natural disasters and human activity stripped away large portions of the original structure. Stones from the Colosseum were reused in other buildings throughout Rome, accelerating its transformation into the impressive ruins we see today. File 0. Despite these losses, the Colosseum never disappeared. By the late 19th century, large-scale restoration efforts had begun in an attempt to preserve what remained of this extraordinary landmark. These projects helped stabilize the surviving walls and ensured that future generations could continue to admire one of history's greatest engineering achievements. File site. Turn File 0 today. Only a fraction of the original Colosseum survives, yet its influence has never been greater. Millions of visitors travel to Rome every year to stand beneath its towering arches and imagine the dramatic events that once unfolded within its walls. What was once a stage for bloodshed has become a place for reflection, education, and historical discovery. The Colosseum's journey from magnificent arena to weathered ruin reminds us that even the mightiest civilizations are shaped by time. Yet it also proves that remarkable human achievements can endure for thousands of years, continuing to inspire wonder long after the empire that created them has faded into history. Nearly 2,000 years have passed since the first spectators entered the Colosseum, yet its story continues to captivate the world. What began as a symbol of imperial power evolved into one of history's greatest architectural achievements and remains one of the most recognizable landmarks ever built. Every stone, every arch, and every underground passage tells the story of empire in both the boundaries and the boundaries of engineering, while revealing both the brilliance and the brutality of its civilization. It represents extraordinary innovation, remarkable organization, as history is rarely simple. The Colosseum reminds us and artistic achievement, but it also reflects the harsh realities of an age when entertainment often came at the cost of human and animal lives. It stands as both a monument to human ingenuity and a powerful reminder and the cost even in king. Numen a new stream into the world in the comments done. And new in the comments, if human in the comments, which fact. Let us know in the comments which about the Colosseum surprised you the most. Would you have wanted to witness the grandeur of the arena? Or do you think its violent spectacles overshadow its architectural genius? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next exploration into the fascinating civilizations that shaped our world. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next documentary.